Well, what are we up to today? Well, we're staring at some instant hot chocolate. The reason we're doing that is because we're looking in the back of the six-wheel drive ambulance. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, we have a six-wheel drive Land Rover Perentie Ambulance. This particular corner here that we've been modifying has fairly rapidly become the kitchen area. So I have a couple of armoured fighting vehicle boiling vessels or cooking vessels or ration heaters, whatever terminology you like to use. They have begun to reside here, hence some of the overly expensive mil-spec connectors that are hanging around here. Here is another one of them. It's a little bit bigger. And we have a PC-21 roulette aircraft flying over the head of us too, so you'll have to deal with that noise. Now, I'm building a little set of drawers or shelves, whatever here, that can help organise some of this mess. At the moment, we've been using the bain-marie trays here to hold a lot of the bits and pieces that we need, and like some of the leftover stuff from ration packs. I'd like to neaten all this up. So, I have spent the last couple of weeks measuring and finding materials and optimising my CAD drawings. I can go over a little bit of them in a moment. I'll do a bit of a voiceover and just show you around the CAD design. But after we've done with that, we're going to head off to the laser cutter and cut some of this stuff, and hopefully by the time we're done with that, there'll be some wood glue should arrive, and we'll be able to glue some of it together, stick it in here, and we'll have a designated spot for things. This could be a work in progress for a little while, so we'll see how we go. Anyway, let's head off over to AutoCAD. Alright, we've just jumped into the workshop, and it's kind of noisy because my extraction fan is running. We are looking at a laser cutter here, and we have some 3mm MDF with laminated stuff on it, or Laminex. I'm going to use this for the top and the bottom, and I can use a second layer if I need to. I'm going to use 6mm for the vertical supports. So I'm going to see how this goes. This is 600mm wide, it's about the standard width of the machine. So I'm going to shove this in, put some magnets on the safeties here, and sit it on a chair so that I don't have to bother cutting the sheet. Also means I can make maximum use of that. So let's get this set up and we'll load a job into it. Okay, we have our designs here that are partially ready. We have our two sections ready to join. The one I'm most interested in at the moment is going to be the top layer first, to see if it misses everything, particularly the spouts on those cooking vessels. Although the way I plan to build this, I need to do it from the bottom up. So I guess we're going to pick this guy, and we're going to delete all the rest out of this, load that in, and then when we're done we'll undo the deletion and make use of the rest of them. So let's continue on. Alright, we've got our laser cutter set up, ready to go. Our program is loaded. We are set for 300 points per inch at 100%, and our oh no, sorry, that is for raster mode at 100% power, 0.7% speed. Normally I do about 1% for 3mm, but the vinyl is going to slow it down a bit. This is a 40 watt CO2 laser. It's a few years old and it doesn't owe me anything, so yeah, we're going to get this job started. We need to get some air assist, which means leaning over to our air compressor here, putting a little bit of air assist in. One day I'll set that up properly with a water separator. Right, let's go. Let's see what happens here. See if we can get some cutting. Normally I would time-lapse this process. I just don't have the energy right now. I know why it's not doing anything. I've got to put the magnets on the safety switches. If I move one of these magnets off the reed switch, it thinks the door's open, which turns the laser off. So let's put that magnet back on and try again. Give us a bit more air assist. Try for round two. Alright, let's have another go. See how we go here. I can see laser this time. I'm not going to put my eyes down here, but the camera lens might do the job. I might be able to see it. and if it's actually cutting all the way through. It looks like it's going clean through, which means the settings I've got are good. And my air extraction is working well. Alright, we're going to leave this for a few minutes and see how she goes. Alright, our first piece is done, so while the second one is cutting, we're going to test to see if this fits in the corner. Which looks like my measurements were pretty good. I was pretty generous about this corner here because of this radius and the dips and bumps and everything. So it probably won't hurt to leave a little bit of room there, which has turned out pretty well. There is a drill hole here where I had my hold down screw, but for the bottom layer that doesn't matter too much. But this is going to be a nice clean surface. We'll clean all this down before I screw it down, of course. But our second half is going to sit from here to here. Yeah, and we'll cut our dog bones as well. So let's go back and see how number 2 piece is going. Alright, so I messed up on the hold downs a little bit, and there was a little bit of flex which sort of pushed it just outside the focal range. So not all of these are cut all the way through. So I've got a couple of options here, and I've kind of bent a little bit there too. That didn't work out how I'd hoped, but I think I'm going to try and screw it back down with the original hold down screws and give it another run and hope that we can recut that part. Alright, let's give it a minute. I've got it aligned with the original screw down points or hold down points. That's why you always do at least 2, so you can put it back in the same place. I've pushed all this down. I have done an autofocus along this section so that things should be focused for that depth there, and that's mostly the bit that we need it to do. So now I'm running it through the job with the door up so the laser is not running. When it gets down to about here somewhere, I'll shut the door and I'll let it run this bottom section again. Hopefully that should cut it free. Alright, we'll be back. Alright, looks like it's cutting through this time. That's good. So, we have our pieces in situ. Now, this measurement was a little conservative, but that doesn't matter. I can move this whole thing across a bit. The idea behind these little recesses here is so that when you're on the top and you've got your cooking vessel here, these little spouts can sit over one of those positions, namely right there, so that you can get your cup under the spout without this having to protrude all the way out into the walk area. Namely, this cable as well is one of those things, and so that you can sit them in a couple of different positions and have your cup there, or for the second one it can fit here. Now, because of that little cock up with the focus, this bit actually broke off. So I'm thinking, because I don't have too much more of this laminated stuff, I'll take some 3mm MDF later on and I'll laser cut just a little reinforcer to go under this area And I'll glue that on with some Gorilla Glue. And hopefully not my hair as well at the same time. And if you don't know that joke, you can hop on the net and look that up. Look up Gorilla Glue hair. You'll have a good laugh. Anyway, that's the top layer. Let's do the bottom, and then the slow bit is going to be these pieces that I've got to do in 6mm. That's going to require probably 2 passes, maybe more, and that's going to take a while, but there are only 2 sheets of those instead of 4. So we should get this in a fairly timely fashion. My apprentice is hosting a sleepover tonight, so it would be good if I can get this done by tonight, but you never know, we might have to stop this short. Anyhow, let's get on with it. I finished cutting some dog bones, and I got a little bit towards the edge of the material there. These guys should pop in here pretty quickly. I've had a delivery arrive of some Gorilla Glue, and I'm going to put a bit of wax paper, or a bit of baking paper, underneath this, put some glue on, join these together, and yeah, let it set while I cut the rest of it. In fact, I could probably even stand to skip the glue for now and just wait, but I want to make sure these actually fit in. So let's assemble some of these. Because I don't have a tripod, I'll do that off camera, and we'll see how everything's looking. Done a bit of prep work, including a Heinz certified ballast weight. I'm going to glue the bottom bit together, but not the top, because this bit's going to get screwed down in position. So we're going to run a bead of glue up here and all around here. They're going to whack our dog bones in. We're going to use this Gorilla Wood Glue, which sets relatively quickly and is going to be a problem one-handed. So let's do this off camera, and I'll give you a little update in a moment. Right, the bottom ones are glued and put in there, so that's going to go and sit for a while, and then I might get the second part on the go. Alright, while the glue dries, we're back in the workshop again. We're onto the 6mm ply. Now, plywood traditionally is a bit of a challenge to cut, particularly 6mm. So we're going way back to 0.2 speed, or 0.2% speed. And I'll probably still have to do 2 passes. Alright, let's get us some air happening, and let's see how we go. Alright, it's going to be interesting, but we'll let this go. It's going to take a while. We'll be at it, and we'll be back soon enough. Okay, well, flash forward 2 days, and my apprentice has finished her multi-day conference over the school holidays, and we have largely assembled a set of cupboards here. Didn't go strictly to plan, and it took me probably half a day of finishing all this 6mm stuff. I really regret having to cut 6mm stuff instead of 2 layers of 3. I probably need to service that cutter and clean the optics as well. And the laser is getting old. It's done quite a few years with me and had a bit of a hard life. Now, this 3mm is a little flimsy, as you might have suspected earlier in the video. But the boiling vessel is going to straddle across these 2 6mm supports here. And it will be butted up against a wall, so that should help stop some of the racking. My little slots and everything through here have all worked well to intersect all these pieces. I have managed to glue this piece back in, and again the boiling vessel that's sitting there will be straddling across these 2 bits, so there won't be too much downward loading on that corner. So I'm not going to worry about the doubler plate yet. If this does prove to be too flimsy, what I can do is probably cut another piece and layer it on the top and turn that into 6mm. We'll see what happens. I've got to buy more material to do that anyway. This little piece down here is working. It's all taped and the glue is drying. Stuck it together with Gorilla Glue. Apparently it does really good for hairstyles too, I'm told. At least the spray pack version at least. So yeah, anyway, the idea behind these little slots here, if you didn't understand before, is so that we can plonk a mug under here and have the spout, have the edge of the whole device flush with the edge of this and the spout still over there, rather than the spout having to protrude over the side and getting in the way of our walk area. And it also means you can do it one-handed, so you don't have to be holding the cup under there. And this is big enough to take bowls and plates and all sorts of stuff as well. And this corner one will work well. And this means that I can have one boiling vessel here in storage, or I can move it, I can have the one on the corner here positioned with the spout there, or in this corner or in this corner. So I can have both with the spout here, or one in storage and one in any of these three positions. It gives me some variability. I did have plans of putting another layer on the top with recesses to slot them in, but I'm thinking I have some little handles kicking around. I've got loads of little plastic handles from my local hardware shop when they closed. I think I'll put a bunch of them down, and then I can attach a strap to them, and they'll also stop it sliding around. Anyway, I'm going to let this glue dry, and then we're going to try and fit it in the back of the Amvo. We managed to get it out and in position in the ambulance. It's not screwed down yet, and we're doing a bit of test positioning. The glue's still wet. Now, one thing I've discovered, I am going to need a little reinforcer in here. This bit's just a bit flimsy for the task. That's easy, I can cut that, and I'll use some of the offcuts of this white stuff, so it'll have a nice cosmetic finish there. Unlike the sort of the raw timber here, you'll have to excuse the wind, it's very windy today. I'm going to make a drawer in here that can slide all the way out. Our bin here, when we lift the bin up, stuff can randomly fall in the hole, but all our bin bags and extra bog roll and stuff can all hide in there. So when we take the bin out to empty it, it uncovers the hole with the bin bags that we need. And that also makes a nice little strong area to take a bit of weight. Now our two Bain Marie trays, one of which I need to get some repairs done, can sit there. One of these trays, the little inserts on the more modern one busted out, so I'm going to talk to the engineering works and see if they can spot weld something in there for me. Now the idea with this guy is it can sit either in this orientation, which I'm going to move forward just because I don't want it to break the glue out. So you can stick your mug in underneath this little recess here and pour your water out, or if we're set up in position for a while, we can rotate this round and it can sit in that orientation. Likewise with this second one, the second one can face that direction when we're traveling, or if we've got the door up, it can face this way with the spout down there. Again, I might need another reinforcer under here. I'm probably going to make a doubler pad, or a pad that is like a doubler plate that goes over here with positions to meet the feet on this, so it doesn't slide away as easily, and maybe a strap, and that way I can just screw that down. I might have enough material left over from this to do that without having to cut an entirely new top piece. There's going to be an L-shaped condiment tray that will go in here for all the tea and coffee and everything. Now, mostly our cups and plates and bowls and stuff can all slide in here. They're not going to fall out when the door's shut because it will cover that. Here will be mostly temporary stuff, but I'll put a little lip around the corner to stop it all sliding out. And the drawer here will be so long that it can't fall out if we hit a hard corner. But I will be engineering a latch on there. But that is starting to look a lot better. I'm going to do something like that over here, except it comes up to that level, and all the stuff that's in this bag can get shoved in those drawers. Things will start looking a bit neater, and we'll have a place for everything, and this little set of drawers and this will clear a whole bunch of space up in the top here for other things as well. I'm going to get this off here before it messes up my glue job. And yeah, I'll laser cut some extra little bits of that probably later today, but I need breakfast. The energy is really getting sucked out of me these days. So anyway, it's still quite solid. It was sensible to have the 6mm risers and not the 3, but crap, I don't like doing 6mm on that machine. I need to service it. So anyway, let's move on to the next bit of this job. Alright, so I'm back inside again, and I have both my boiling vessels on my desk, and I have my files up here that I plan to use. I've plotted out my little reinforcer that I want to make, and originally this is the layout I had for the top tray, or the top selections where all the bin and everything would go in. I'm going to take these two pieces and make some doubler plates that conform to the profile of this and glue them down. So I've got these guys in to try and figure out what the feet are like. And something I should have remembered The lighting in here is horrible, but this doesn't have feet. This one does. So I'm going to do a little bit of thinking about how I'm going to sort this out. We might run back out to the laser cutter and see what we can do. I've spent some more time on the laser cutter, this time with 3mm stuff. And I've been ratting through my collection of bits and bobs. I found some of these nice brass handles. And I cut myself a drilling guide to get the holes right for them. And these are going to be tie downs. They look nice. So I've got plenty of them. Now what I've done here is I've done 2 layers of timber. This is my little extra reinforcer I mentioned before, with a couple of 3mm holes here, so when I glue I can put some screws through and bond that together. Likewise with these 2 parts, they're meant to lay on top of each other, and I've put locating holes all around them so that I can put some pressure on it when I'm gluing them. This whole assembly is going to glue, or maybe even screw, straight to the top. In fact, screwing might be a better idea. Screwing to the existing top section where I plan to put the cooking vessels. And what we need to know here is whether I measured right. This guy will sit in this little recess here to help prevent it from sliding around, which it looks like that's going to fit nicely. Let's try the one over the other side here. Now, I may have spotted an issue. This one has feet, but the tie downs will sort that out. The feet, however, will probably be advantageous because this is actually 10mm longer than it is wide. So when I rotate it around this way, the feet will allow it to sit in that position still. So that's not all bad, actually. That's a mistake that I had already corrected and then I uncorrected when I revised my drawings. So, doesn't matter. And this also covers up some of the joins. It makes it look a lot better on the top. Oh, and I'm missing one piece. There is another extra piece over here. I'll grab that. We'll get some glue and some screws out and we'll get this positioned. I found it. That bit fits over there. Alright, that should strengthen that whole area, including the bit that we had to glue back on. Alright, well, let's glue these 2 bits together for a start and put a couple of 3mm screws through there. Now, I probably could have done this in such a way that I could glue it back to back, but I wasn't quite that smart. But either way, it should still provide a nice 6mm reinforcer that will do the job well. Just liberally applying glue like one does heatsink paste, to great excess of course, and using a wet rag to wipe off the top of this Gorilla Glue so I don't end up having to fight the bottle later on. They can go on there. Now these screws I will remove at a later date, once the glue has dried, or I might even leave them in there for aesthetic looks, I don't know. Really depends how well it looks, I guess. I need to find a couple that are long enough to do the job. Now, I have nuts in here. I do have nuts. There'll be a couple in here. Anyway, and they're definitely steel nuts. Nuts of steel, that's what you can call me, I guess. I'm not sure how insulting that will be. Anyway, this video is getting quite long, so I might just jump through a bunch of this stuff and just get it done. So you get the idea. I'm going to put screws on it. I'm going to do the same thing around all the edge of this stuff. So I'll get on with that and we'll jump forward a big jump in the project. It's kind of windy out here, so I might not talk too much for this part. But I've got pilot holes drilled. That's going to go on. Goes on here. This guy goes on here. And then we'll drill our handles in wherever we want to put them. I'll decide that after the fact. We need some glue now, so let's get on with that. Alright, so a little bit of a windy update. I have this all glued and clamped. And things are still quite windy. I've been wiping the glue off, but it does tend to seep out as the clamps push down a bit more. I've got some hold down handles in place. They work well for the old one, But I've come across a conundrum with this one. Now if I do it this way, I had planned on putting a handle here and going through this layer, but since I've put this little reinforcer in, which has made everything nice and sturdy, I can't get the handles in because these handles are designed to screw from the bottom, and I have a problem. And I can't sit it any further back because it will collide with this. I could potentially put a handle here and strap over both of them, but again around here becomes a problem because this is not long enough for this handle. This was sort of the oversight. So for the moment I'm going to leave the handles for now until I do a bit of a rethink. I can't screw all this down yet because I've got to make that drawer, and I'll never get the drawer in when everything's screwed down. Method in that madness there. I've got my mini vice clamps that I bought years ago for doing a brake line crimping job. Yeah, so the glue is starting to dry nicely. Things are starting to all go in quite firmly. This little dog bone joining method is getting covered up nicely, and it's all glued in here, so that will be nice and strong. I've got a good lip happening here. Where's my cup? It's in here somewhere. I can still get a cup in here, and we can hide stuff in there, and I can get another one in here even with the clamps in place, so that is good. I can hidey hole some stuff in there. I might even just, rather than put the lip on here, I might put some grip stuff in there, some grippy surface. I don't know yet, but it's easy enough for me to laser cut a little piece of 6mm wide trim to go in there. We'll find out, although I think at the moment that could be counterproductive. This sort of stuff has a habit of evolving as you go along, so we're basically just waiting for glue to set. This section here is not sitting down, so I might replace this screw with an actual tapping, like a self-tapping screw to hold that in. I'm going to do that before the glue sets, so let's get on with that. Right, so this clip I filmed a little out of sequence. This shows in our parked configuration how we should be having these set up. Now if you close the door in this configuration, you're going to crush these leads. So I have a different way of orienting them when we're parked, which I'll do that now, and we'll do a little jump cut. Right, and this is our travelling configuration. We've got them back to back. There are little mounting screws in here that I haven't bothered to remove because they don't protrude any further out than the back. There is one on the side here that will eventually get in the way. We'll remove that. Don't worry about that. This is our old guy. We've still got room in here. You couldn't access the hot water, but in this configuration we'd be using it whilst driving to probably cook something that needs to be boiled, or a slow cook or something. This one has the low temperature. This is more likely to be slow cook, and this one's a lot more reliable with a lot more smarts. I feel safer leaving this running for long periods of time. So in this configuration, it's going to be much more suitable. And if we remove some of our clips just out of the way here, we can whack a cup under this one, and we can see that we can fill it with water from here, just nicely. Alright, and we can do a little wipe off down there. Alright, I think this is going to work well. Alright, so the weather's turned into crap. You'll probably see it's rainy and horrible out here, so I think it's time to warm this thing up, make myself a cuppa. I'm probably going to call this video quits right about here. I'm thinking at this point, I haven't kept track of how much video I've recorded. It's probably going to be like half an hour or more probably. So the audience retention ain't great on a video like that. So I'll revisit this another time. I'm going to do the drawer and everything. Right at the moment, having the energy to film this and to do this at the same time is a bit of a problem. So I've got my MS infusion, or my treatment, at the chemo centre in a few days' time. So I am running down a little bit. So we'll see you again after that's done, and hopefully some more of this will be finished. Anyway, hope you had fun. Hope it was interesting. We'll hopefully, if I get a picture of this all set up in anger, we'll see that in a later video. But I guess if you want to see that, probably subscribe and you'll see when I post it. See you all later. Hope you've had fun.